Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we'll be talking about the 5 worst front offices in the NFL. This on another episode of. So, at number 5, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals, compared to some of the other entries on this list, actually might look like a good front office, but honestly, they're on this list because of how they consistently bring in pieces that fail to turn into the elite kind of players they would need to win a Super Bowl. Whether it's through free agency, the draft, or trades during the season, they generally don't bring in the kind of players that their team would need to actually make a deep playoff run. At number 4, we have the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills, well, they, similar to the Arizona Cardinals, continuously fail to bring in prospects that can actually turn into great players for their team. In recent memory, they brought in Von Miller after he played for the Rams, and honestly, I don't think that turned out very well for the Bills, considering all the issues there. And other than him, well, there's been Joey Bosa in this offseason who already got hurt. Now, Joey Bosa might play in the regular season if all goes well with his recovery, but the fact that they actually willingly paid Joey Bosa money and expected him not to get hurt is kind of speaks to how their front office works. And beyond that, how the front office has managed that receiver room is honestly worthy of an investigation, because while getting rid of Stephon Diggs makes sense, he was a bit of a diva, and his time had run its course in Buffalo. Their inability to replace Diggs and actually give Josh Allen at least another solid receiver to replace him is almost criminal. Khalil Shakir has been the best receiver since Stephon Diggs left, and that's not saying much because his competition is Keon Coleman, who the Bills drafted and hasn't really done much. And they brought in Curtis Samuel from the Washington Commanders. And that is just not, none of those people are number one receivers in the NFL. None of them have that elite talent that makes a number one receiver, and that's why they're here on this list. At number 3, we have the Carolina Panthers, and their front office is kind of legendary in how badly they've managed the Panthers over the years. The Panthers front office has turned down a lot of good opportunities and messed a lot of things up. They traded away Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. Another notable mess up for the Panthers includes when the Rams wanted to trade 2 firsts for Brian Burns. And the Panthers said no, only to trade him for significantly less to the New York Giants a year later. On top of that, there's the entire situation of how they even got Bryce Young, which they gave up a ransom to the Chicago Bears for the first overall pick. And while in doing so, gave away the best receiver they had that would have been extremely important in terms of actually making Bryce Young develop early in his career. And by giving DJ Moore to Chicago, they basically destroyed their own receiving core. And the receiving core has yet to recover from that issue. At number 2, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, who are currently one of the most obvious choices to be on this list. The Bengals, they, for the longest time, have been just terrible at managing the team. The front office has not regularly re-signed decently good players. They've always been picky about contracts. And I don't really have to go very far back to just show you how bad they've been. Because right now they're involved with so many controversies. They don't want to pay Trey Hendrickson, who's a sack leader in 2024. They are trying to add new language that's never been used before to their first round rookies contract, which, again, why are you messing with your first round rookie? He's of all the people you drafted, you should have the most faith in him to actually continue to be on the team. Of course, they waited extremely long to pay both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, which led to them having to pay more because of the market value for those wide receivers going up. And honestly, they only gave T. Higgins and Jamar Chase those contracts because Joe Burrow, their star elite quarterback, basically said, do it or else. Which, if it takes your quarterback saying do it or else to get you to re-sign other elite players you have, if you were being stingy on just re-signing other elite players you have just because that's how you are, you deserve to be on that high on this list. And at number one for the worst run front office in the NFL, we have the Cowboys. Of course, right now they're currently in contract talks to potentially extend Micah Parsons, but that's been a long time coming. The CeeDee Lamb extension took way too long to happen. The Dak Prescott extension took way too long to happen. The Cowboys, while they don't necessarily try to screw over their players like the Bengals, they are masters at taking too long to re-sign someone. And that costs them a lot of money. Dak Prescott, had they re-signed him sooner, wouldn't cost the Cowboys near what he does right now. Same with CeeDee Lamb, and especially Micah Parsons whenever they figure him out. And the fact that they continuously do this is even worse than the Bengals, because at least the Bengals have the slight understanding that they can't pay everyone. Dallas Cowboys, I feel like they think they can pay everyone, because while they do wait, they do eventually pay people. It's just whenever they get around to it, the number is a lot bigger. And on top of all that, the Cowboys just genuinely have not done a lot of breakout moves in terms of how they've built their teams over the past few years. Obviously, they've drafted a lot of good players. Their teams have been decently successful, but nothing outstanding. So with that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe down below, tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time.